court case against Independent Police Code of Conduct on Monday, the 8th of September 2025. So the last episode, I basically said that what's happened to me, it's actually a conspiracy to commit murder, but there's several incidents that has occurred in my personal profile. Okay, so what I will be doing on this video clip, I'm going to go over the plaintiff synopsis.
Hi guys, so we're continuing with part 6, okay? We're dealing with the same court case, Independent Police Code of Conduct. So this video clip is part 6. I'm keeping my court case live because I know that this evidence is very vital for what's going on with me at the moment with my court cases. So today I will continue from part 5. The last video clip went over the synopsis. So this video clip I will be going over the summary judgment to enter a judgment of liability. So the starting point is, first of all, this is the actual court list that was actually up on Monday, the 8th of September 2025. But I just need you guys just to kind of look at what it actually states on the application. When I went in there, I didn't realize that the case was being set down for an application to strike out my application. So those that don't know what that means, the actual court day that was set for this day was to actually strike out my application, meaning the Crown gets the first opportunity rather than me, who is the actual plaintiff in the case. So there's a consistency of changing, but we're dealing with internal corruption, and it's me actually proving that the courts or the allies involving this case are breaking every law to do what they're doing, meaning that that's why I'm contesting the case or the judgments or anything to do with me historically, because I know that it's unlawful. I know that they've cheated. I know that they've perverted the course of justice, and that they have no evidence to support anything they've said other than just using the laws for reference and case studies for references. So that's why I'm contesting it, obviously, and it's also to do with my liberty, my personal property, my profile, and everything to do with me. So, but today I will continue with part 6. But before I do that, I feel because the court case is all about me, I thought I'd put a little clip going back just to reference everyone that the case is historical. I'm representing and legally self-representing my own case since 2006, but the starting point of the case actually derived from Ministry of Health case. So I will put this link up for everyone to watch the whole clip on this episode, but just as a reference point.
Hi everyone, welcome to Authentic Ingenuity Entrepreneur. My name is Mina Crichton. Today's date's the 19th of April 2025. Today I'm just going to do the usual, start off with the introduction and then onto the topic that's on my heart to actually talk about today in regards to my court case. We're still going to be talking about the Ministry of Health court case, because I think it's quite relevant, because that case is actually in the proceeding in the criminal jurisdiction. It's still pending from my point of view, because I'm still working on it anyway. So I'll just get straight onto it. Okay, as the victim of crimes, I can actually verify that my case is definitely 100% an indictable case, but it's diverted, meaning it starts from breaches, so it's internal corruption. While I was working for my employer, there's sufficient evidence to prove in my personal property that my Bill of Rights and human rights were taken away from me, and that I was actually being trafficked by force without my consent, although I knew something wasn't right in the moment, just by the misuse of devices and people micromanaging me secretly. This is consistent with the public harassments and people being a criminal nuisance in my space. So it is actually quite serious. So what the actual legislation considers a innocent civilian is or a vulnerable person is an innocent civilian, which would be a member of the public, or even if you work for your job occupation and you know you're innocent and you're not participating in anything that's wrong, then you are classified as a vulnerable adult. But if you commit an offence, you become a defendant. But if you are the victim in an offence by an offender, then you are a victim according to the laws. I've already gone over that with my other YouTube channel, other video clips. So if you want to know more about that, I've gone through that already in some of the YouTube clips that I've put on my channel, which is, it's good information in there. But today I'm going to be talking about...
Okay, guys, so my case today, I will be continuing against the Crown, okay? The defendants is the Crown in my case, so I'm the plaintiff. But it is against government, okay? So that's a big, case on its own. But in saying that, the laws apply to those within the state, okay? So it's definitely a case of pure discrimination, money laundering, you name it, okay? My case is really serious. It's home invasion, it's crimes against humanity, it's genocide. Also, I'm a rape victim. So it's a pretty serious case, and I've had to do this legally myself because no one knows the evidence, where the evidence, and how all these things came about. But it did start off with working with my employer and breaches that eventually accumulated into a very serious indirect conspiracy, and it's a left behind case. It's another reason why things have been difficult. And so I'll just carry on. So before I actually get onto the hardcore evidence of my case, keeping in mind this is exactly what I'm going through, okay? So everything is exactly as how I have actually used posting, okay? They're from my point of view as a victim in the crime, and explaining it in my posters of what it actually articulates as far as proving indirect psychological conspiracies, illusions, delusion, meaning somebody is lying. So it's either I'm lying or the coalitions or the perpetrators using substitutes. So the reality is my case has been against allies using substitutes and relationship scam. It's real. It's evidential now. I'm the original of my own personal space, my life, my entity. So I'm opposing that. So read your circumstances carefully. But all it takes is a breach, home invasion continues because somebody in your space is on behalf of the opposing allies. Not only that, it's global, so they're listening. Espionage takes place, so it's so easy for anyone globally to conspire, changing and shifting evidence on the surface, okay? But then the switching is real. That's why it's a very serious case, because the original don't know that there's what's actually going on. So my case goes back to 2010, basically everything becoming a reality for a very serious global international case. So I'm actually able to prove that. Okay, so bear in mind, unless I have consented for anyone to do what they're doing to me, then it's okay. Meaning even the government is not allowed to do what they've done to me without my consent. Okay, so I have not consented. So there's no power of authority I've signed to anyone. So the only time someone can represent somebody or have anything to do with their personal property is if they have some disability as far as talking about their mental health, well-being and stuff like that, you can actually sign your authority over to somebody to take over. But in this case, I have not done that, meaning according to the law, I have every right to do what I'm doing. Okay, so but it is a criminal case because I'm blacklisted, so it's a criminal blacklisted case by people in body corporates, internally and externally. So it's a very serious warlike game. Home invasion has taken place. It's an indirect conspiracy. And yes, the real people die. Okay, the originals die. So anything I have put up, I'm talking from what I have witnessed historically and according to what the law and why the law even came about. So I'm basically describing my environment and my personal experiences as the victim of crimes. Okay, so I'm dealing about my property. Everything about me from the day I was born to the day, if I get murdered, I'm not murdered, of course. So it is I'm old school, but my greatest concern about the system is that they've changed the system to modernize trafficking rings, to modernize what they're actually doing. Okay, it's illegal and it's all about money laundering. So at the stage of my court case, obviously there's a lot of money involved. Also, there's some pretty serious criminal charges that can be laid by those in public office if they've committed perjury or linking to my case. So I have actually exhausted the system, okay? But there's clear case of home invasion, slavery, slave-like servitude, serfdom, and what's the other word? And bondage, debt bondage. That is 20 years imprisonment, keeping in mind on one person, okay? I'm talking only about me. I don't care about anything else. I'm basically talking about what happened to me and proving that the factual facts in court is real and true, and proving that the judgments are unlawful, okay? And that the opponent in this case is the defendant who's actually broken the laws, have actually created conspiracy offences involving my personal property. Everything they've said about me is not true, legally, spiritually. So, I hope you'll get the picture. So this is me. My name is Mina Crichton. I'm the narrator of this video clip, and my YouTube channel, Authentic Ingenuity Entrepreneur, is actually dedicated to human trafficking victims and also bring awareness of the massive changes that have taken place. The trafficking rings like what I've gone through, they sneak up on innocent civilians, they sneak up on your businesses. So if you don't know how to protect yourself and your family, you can end up homeless, you can end up losing everything good that you have worked for, or everything good that you stand for as an individual, your personal testimony, and somebody else steal it and make money out of it. Okay, so unfortunately, my case is definitely conspiracy to commit murder. There's several elements of that to prove in my case historically. For those that are new on board, just for this video, my background is my starting point of my career is working for a Department of Courts before I'd actually transitioned to the Ministry of Justice. So Department of Courts, all the body corporates were split, or like the police was different, and the police was different, all the government agencies were different, the courts were run differently too at that point in time. And I can actually witness, never in my career have I ever witnessed any judge write anything unlawful, like an unlawful strike judgments, nor have I ever witnessed any court deputy registrar sabotaging somebody else's cases, or making bias, prejudice, or thinking it's funny. But so yeah, I just know that I'm supposed to be doing this, but I'm dealing with my personal property. So definitely it is a conspiracy to commit murder. And so my first occupation was to do depositions, jury trials. That's basically just proving the case, not only by documentations. So I can prove just by documentations that my case is a conspiracy to commit murder by the documents, just by words, by documents. Now there's disadvantages and advantages of the technology system. The disadvantages, they can erase your evidence in the moment, which they've done to me because I'm glued to them. So if I wasn't being efficient like I have been and not give up, no matter how difficult the journey has been, they can easily wipe out somebody's existence. Well, I have no intention of wiping out my existence, like I never, allowing them to get away with that, but that's my personal experience. So I can actually, what you'll be witnessing in my court cases and all my other videos, is pure evidence of a very serious corrupt system. Mismatch evidence, which is fraud. And that's why I have not given up. But we're dealing, whether it's individual or body corporate, but we're dealing now with body corporate offences. And it is definitely a conspiracy to commit crime. The scary thing about it, that is actually global. So I didn't know or understand the hostility or why my environment was being hostile while I was, minding my own business, very sheltered. I was brought up in a church where we didn't, watching TV was being discouraged, and technology didn't, all those things I didn't care about because I didn't even have time for that kind of thing. And I wasn't into social media or anything because I had no time. So I'm a very old-fashioned sort of a person, but I'm also straight. I'm not gay, and I'm not against people, whatever their beliefs are. I've never been that type of person, but I was brought up at, deal with everything straightforward, honest way and everything. I'm not perfect. But the problem I've had is these secret societies have dug up my past to use against me. And not only that, for other reasons, they've used me for money laundering, and I've seen the advantage of they've been able to take advantage of an innocent civilian, and that's what they've done historically. So I will continue with the evidence, but what you will be witnessing is a conspiracy to commit murder, just me by proving with the documents, the processes and the procedure of the courts or the government. But we're dealing with agents now, okay? So we're dealing with global agents. We don't know who they are, what they look like. They're hacking, they are doing whatever they can to help the opponent, okay? Yes, they're breaking every law, meaning they're doing proxy hacking, they're doing everything without a license, without any search warrants or legal rights, even though they have actually changed the laws to allow them to do what they're doing. If you watched my other videos, I've gone over the laws on that. If you can still prove if the prosecutor can prove in the court of law that the facts are true, the body corporates or whoever's behind the conspiracy, they can still be charged with very serious criminal charges, internally and externally. So this illegal experiment, that they have made me live in limbo. So unfortunately, over time, the opposing allies, it's really easy for them to continue with to continue and is able to get away with some pretty serious criminal offences or breaches or whatever you want to call it, just by pinning somebody, isolating, exile them, and then the whole environment, from my own personal experience, is contaminated. It's dangerous, it's hostile at times, it's people walking around in zombies, glued into everything, using the technologies and basically stealing your identity, your entity, and anything that you're entitled to legally. So they're living off your good fruits and everything else about you. So basically this is what it's like now with the technology system, but it's actually ascertaining whether the force is constructive interference or destructive interference. Okay, the other thing I found very dangerous is these people are actually enforcing their own beliefs rather than the laws, and they've seen the advantage to commit evil motive intent, or and not only that, other people's truth is not the same as your truth. Okay, so other people's belief or truth, that is one thing I learned in depositions, when the evidence is going on before the court and the judge. When they call witnesses in, when they give the truth, they say their truth, but then when you hear the other person's truth, it's completely different. I've sat in cases where the evidence point the evidence straight to one witness, and then when the other witness comes in, it changes everything. Okay, so we have a generation of people very good at lying, and they're hoping to win my case just by appearances, and that's why they've got this younger looking system going on. It's all crap to me. The things they've put me through, man, it's inhumane. So excuse me if I get angry, or you can feel in my voice I'm the aggrieved victim, so it is justifiable. It is definitely justifiable. Anything I do, I know that it is justifiable according to the law and according spiritually wise also to God. Okay, so old school or not, criminal intent must be proven. Okay, but it can be proven after the fact easy. Okay. So basically, I've been used for relationship scams, okay? So I'm a very private person, okay? And so what I'm saying is my opponents have no leg to stand on in the legal terminology sense. So basically, I'm basically globally doing this internationally because I've had to. Because they have not stopped trying to take me down. So it is a conspiracy to commit murder. Okay, so this is exactly what they're doing. So the evidence you will be proving versus my evidence against at this point in time is IPCA is fabricating evidence by means of perjury. Okay, so any legal documents they give before court or in court, if it is not accurate, okay, it doesn't matter how many years ago it is, it can be if it's challengeable, it can be challenged. Okay. So what I'm saying is all the fabricating evidence involving myself is fraud, okay? It's perjury. That alone, this is only one offence, that is 7 years imprisonment. So everything they're saying is a lie. It is Cold War espionage, okay? So basically it's just proving a fact that I'm actually the vulnerable victim in all of this, according to the law. Now, the warlike alliances are glued to me, meaning there's somebody in your family or within your business or somebody that's doing the leaks. Someone is linking themselves to those in public office. But then in saying that, we have espionage. They're listening. I've actually witnessed over the years that they are studying people's families. Okay, this is my personal witnessing of what this technology is doing. They are actually listening using espionage globally. After they study all your immediate family, they can easily glue, they're doing proxy hacking. That's what they've done to me. I'm telling you, they're doing proxy hacking. We don't know who the heck they are, okay? But it's easily done. And then they'll keep on studying your family and they're listening to your arguments. They're studying everything about you and then turning everyone against each other. Or maybe somebody has got caught up in something and walked into a trap and then they've been accused of something without, knowing that they're actually being spied on by somebody else, and then they turned, the evidence and the wrong person gets charged with a crime. Okay, I've witnessed all that. I've witnessed that. They've done that with my family. And that's why I've had to do what they've done. And I know that a lot of them are not legally minded, okay? Innocent civilians who are unaware of the laws, okay? So the people that are criminally responsible are those linking to government jobs. They are responsible with conspiracies like mine, and that's why I've had to deal with my evidence globally and legally to prove a fact that the justice system is corrupt. They've used me for money laundering, for scams and games globally, and relationship scam, and I'm able to prove that. So it's a personal vendetta, okay? So it's an advanced criminal grooming, meaning those within my work environment when I was working for the government were also vulnerable civilians. But if it can be proven globally that other agencies, other countries, other states are secretly spying and conspiring and pointing evidence at the wrong person, that is why it's so important to not get involved in anything. Like, just be an individual self, because the law clearly articulates when someone gets into trouble with the law, you are charged or you are dealt with as an individual, not, yes, you are dealt with as also the body corporate is dealt at like an individual, but all the members will all stand before the court of law as an individual. But it is an illegal Commonwealth game, okay? It's luring in innocent civilians, it's causing division in their family life, and You know, it's quite clear that I've gone to work and church historically minding my own business. Okay, that's not hard to prove that I've just been one of these people minding her own business. And then, you know, all of a sudden everybody's disappeared. People are lured away, being isolated. And at the same time, they're defaming secretly and creating lies on the surface, public innuendo. Okay, and then with the judgments and or the unlawful medical evidence. Okay, they're creating evidence, they're trying to suppress the truth with their lies because that's the only way they can get away with it, because they know they're watching me and I know they're scared. Okay, some very powerful people are scared that if everything was taken away to prove if everything I'm saying is true, they know they're going to go to prison for a very long time. But we're talking about public welfare here. We're talking about those in government too. I mean, that is very serious. That you know, working in a prominent job, you witness something very serious that is wrong, and they just cover it up. And then the victims are scared for their life because they've witnessed the truth about something. If nothing is done about it, then you're going to end up having a corrupt system, using the system to kill innocent civilians. That's not the purpose of a government. So basically we're dealing with multicultural, diverse, independent, being relatable, honest behind closed doors. Are you being partial? Are you being fair or impartial fairness? We're talking about being consistent spiritually, we're being consistent integrity. So yeah, we're talking about you know, that's why we have the laws. And the old school people know where I'm coming from. They get me, they understand me. But those have known nothing about laws or anything like that, even though they work for the government and they're brand new, it takes years to get it right. But I can get it right because 1, I have the experience, 2, I have knowledge, 3, it's about me. Okay, nobody can explain me and my situation better than me. So keep in mind, we're dealing with espionage. We're dealing with one case, one person, whether the energy is positive or negative, whether it is good or bad. Okay. So in my case, I'm dealing with indirect conspiracy, and that I'm proving a fact that it's a conspiracy to commit murder case. We're talking about internal corruption globally. We're talking about a home invasion has taken place in one person's life. So especially speaking from my point of view, I'm dealing with this. So I'm saying that the evidence written about me is written by people with ill will, with malice, mean, cruel, jealousy, envy, immature. We're not dealing with, people who are mature, and not using their jobs for a game. So I'm proving that the documents written about me, I'm showing bad blood. I'm showing, the things that they're actually writing about me as bad faith. It's heinous hate crimes. It's malice. It's the same spirit flowing through consistently, meaning it's a criminal alliance, meaning that whoever is initiating it or the perpetrators behind the scene, coalitions, okay, they call themselves coalitions, they're having a ball playing games with innocent civilians. They've done it for a very long time, and it's just my turn. But the victims are definitely suffering, pain and suffering. But the whole purpose with a case like mine, it's all about money laundering, about who gets the money, about the truth coming out, because when the truth comes out, everyone goes to prison. All right, guys, I like to refer to the laws. Okay, this is really important. Okay, I'm proving if a criminal case is murder. proving a fact that everything about me, they've animated me historically. Okay, so this here is a Crimes Act thing. This is people doing dangerous things or in charge of dangerous things. So this is to do with anyone who's doing the surveillance. This is to do with anyone monitoring, hacking. This is to do with anyone in government, okay? Anyone in public office, any law enforcement, the police, you name it, okay? So I can actually prove in the court of law that they have actually animate or inanimate, okay? So the law clearly states that, just hang on a moment, who erects, makes, operates, maintains anything, whatever, which in the absence of precaution of care may endanger human life, it is under legal duty to take responsibility and precautions, okay, against the use of reasonable care and to avoid such danger, and is criminally responsible for the consequences of omitting without law excuse to discharge that duty. So what's actually happened with me, they've locked me out, okay? I can prove that they locked me out while I was working for my employer. And this explains all the hostility, all these people in my space. I've known, okay, why are you doing that? Why are you behaving that way? They're acting out what their motive and their criminal motive intent confidently. Why are they doing that? It's because they know they're not going to get caught because somebody else is doing it. Okay, they know they can confidently commit serious offences and get away with it because, somebody is supporting it. Somebody, so they are using their jobs basically. Okay, so I can prove in the court of law that while I was working for my employer going back to 2010, IPCA did nothing. They left me in there. They allowed me, I don't know what they want to call it, but from my point of view as the vulnerable adult, they made my life a living hell. I knew they were stealing off me, but they were setting me up to fail. Okay, somebody had purposed that they were going to keep me pinned down and destroy everything about me slowly. So it's a slow death. Okay, it's intentional. Everything is intentional, and it's global. Okay, it's very serious. It's a very serious case, and they're also coding individuals. Okay, and that's why I'm denouncing, because it's to do with me. I know when they're talking about me, and yeah. So I'll just carry on. Okay, so for those that don't know, it's acceleration of death. They glue people, okay, and then they animate, and then they do proxy hacking, and then they have other people in your space actually on their behalf, copying, following you, spying everything you're doing. But then there are other people also doing the same thing, okay, to them. That's what they're doing. There could be 3 or 4 perpetrators linking to the government, meaning even though the original's being used in the moment, there are other people doing proxy hacking either globally or also, if you can see what I'm saying, it's like a sandwich is the best way to explain it. But what they're actually doing is the whole idea is to switch. So the originals get eliminated, okay? The originals get eliminated first. Or if you become an evidence, they will eliminate you too. Or if they use their money to win you over, like bribery or whatever, they can kill you and still steal that money back. So yeah. Okay, so what I'm dealing with globally is the Crown Entity Act 2004, duty to act with honesty and integrity, okay? So basically, this system, they're sharing information. They're doing unlawful investigation without a warrant. And saying that, sometimes things inside what's being put in the system, in the government system, is not always accurate. But they're making that like gospel. They're digging up people's past. They're using their job to have a peek, all right, to have a peek, and then they think that's gospel, and then they think they're gonna win. But what I'm gonna prove to you guys globally, how serious my case is with my personal statements, my facts versus the Crown, okay, and the courts. But we're dealing with a member of statutory entity. They must, when acting as a member, act with honesty and integrity. We're talking about judges, okay? We're talking about the police officers. We're talking about doctors, okay? Not doctors, we're talking about anybody in public office, okay? At the end of the day, it is vital that what they write, what they say about somebody is accurate. And I have not found it funny, some of the things they're saying, but they like to pick on people's weaknesses and flaws, or anything to turn everyone away. And they're like picking on things that's not even illegal. But they're creating videos, singers, some of these singers overseas, they're creating songs and their lyrics as part of the game, okay, and then they're just switching, taking turns using innocent civilians, and they don't even know that they're being used for money laundering purposes secretly, okay. Okay, the unfairness of my case is that the judge has not had my documents, okay? So I've actually exhibited I had, obviously it's against, just proving a fact that when I was having a working relationship with Louise Holloway, my manager at the time, and also Sheehan, okay? At the time when I was having issues with her, nobody did anything about it. They just left me in there. I'm not putting all the blame on her, but I know that she was definitely one of them. There were several of them, but what had actually happened, a criminal alliance had built up. The corporate body staff had chosen her over me, okay. So that's where the unsafe alliance cybercrime was going on in that work. Keeping in mind, all these people, they have a life too. They have a private life, okay? I'm quite sure their family ain't perfect either. I'm quite sure they've got members in the family who, wouldn't, I'm just saying that no one is perfect, and that everyone, just because they work for the government, they've got a job, is capable of anything. So what I'm saying is some of these people could be linked to gangs too, or could be, and other things, so they can easily form an alliance against a person. So basically I had this here as an exhibit against her to prove to the court of law. All this can be used in a criminal case, that I was seeing a counsellor and I was complaining about my work relationship. This is like the early days, okay? They did nothing about it. They left me in there. So all these documentation is evidential, and to explain that a victim was working in an environment that clearly articulates acts of terrorism, okay, and the starting point of the issues and problems happening within the workplace. So all these kind of things were in the Independent Police Code of Conduct document, okay, and they've actually admitted to some of these documents. Others I've added on because I've, after my own investigation, I was able to pick up everything and put it in, because this is all relevant information for a conspiracy to commit murder cases like mine, a Category 4 cases. Everything is taken into consideration, everything, to find out who was at the wrong and who the suspects are. But there's a consistency in my cases where they've used members, or they're using names of people in my family. Okay, that's a criminal tactic, what these criminal allies are doing. Okay, they're using, after they've studied me, invaded my private life, they're actually using the names of people in my family or somebody that knows me, because they're going to deviate. Okay, they're creating evidence over, if you get the picture, and they're using words or using their name, and they're ringing up and they're saying, identifying themselves as such and such, but they're actually using names of people within my environment, and they're coding them too. This here also, I've been, things happen. I've been laying complaints with the police, okay, and and I've exhibited some of this, okay, so I thought I'd just quickly go over this as proof, because all this links to the videos on my video clips, because I mentioned it. So I asked the police for a request of official information, okay. This here is in the IPCA case. It was on the 8th. Okay, all these exhibits, and here you can see I've put in the incident in regards where I thought my girlfriend Angela Jones, when she went missing, I know she got murdered. I was very concerned. I mean, here I am, this girl, they know that she's close to me, but no one came and asked me about her. I was the last person who she was very close to. Everyone at work saw her come to the counter. People can identify her as Angela Jones. This here was given to the police. I went and reported her missing. Okay, what I'm saying is a pattern just kept happening, and I knew when she went missing I was going to be next, and they haven't stopped. They have not stopped. They've just kept conspiring. So but there are still a lot of people alive who can vouch, yes, I know her. Okay, all they need to do is be summoned in to prove a fact. So I had this on the exhibits. The exhibit. This is what happens in jury trials just with the documents. It's a matter of actually proving it if it's true. And I'm saying it's true because I did it. So this here is in the exhibits with IPCA as evidence. Okay. And there's heaps of people, they can't kill everyone, but there are heaps of people that can witness that she existed. Okay? She has a daughter too. At that time, this incident was, she had a car accident. The father of her child had a car accident with her, the daughter, in the car, and she had a reason to believe he was poisoned. And what she described to me was exactly the same thing. I was poisoned while I was working for the Ministry of Justice. When I'm making allegations that I was poisoned at work, I believe I was poisoned the same way he was poisoned. Okay, and then that's very serious, and that this is a cause of why they're covering up. Okay, and she also had a life insurance, and I believe she was killed for her life insurance by the same people who killed the father of her child. Okay, I was the last person who saw her. Here I am working in a government job, okay, as a court deputy registrar, and no one came to ask me about her, because that's what usually happens, isn't it? In the real world of sensible, honest people. No, because they didn't, because whoever is behind what I'm going through, I was going to be next, okay? So also in the evidence I'd put in at that time, my relationship with Pastor King was very close. He was my closest confidant, and I loved him like a father. Our relationship was not like I was a mistress, okay? There's quite clear evidence of that, but other people have interpreted it that way. And we know that some cultures, are very set in their ways, and they made me look like the other woman. So this gave this illegal conspiracy cybercrime people to make out I'm the other woman. So if you can get what I'm saying, this is what they're doing with Natalie Viskiso and Henry Cavill, which is bullkaka, all right? And I can confirm, according to the law, even if I die or I don't make it, it can still be proven that everything I said was true just by me and Pastor King's phone conversation, because I told him everything, okay? But what I'm saying is, while all this is happening, other things were happening because of this cameras and the global surveillance. But at that time, I was trying to protect the church common sense, as I knew that a breach only, leads to innocent civilians, being affected. So it's indirect conspiracy of a breach. But I think if you can get the picture. So in this complaint, I talked about Steve Shortland, the Commissioner of Police, and he left his job suddenly, and he referred everything, because what I said to the judge on the 8th of September is I told her my background. I had to prove it was actually for the judge, taking the judge, the case at this time was a new judge. She was new on board on this case. And it was actually me convincing her who to believe the police, or believe those in authority over me. And that's how they're meant to make the decision. But I get it. All this time, instead of following their own independent conscience, knowing I'm innocent, they've done it in favour of the defendant. And because they're doing secret global inciting to get public votes. And this is where the animation of the relationship scam, I mean, that's serious stuff. But I'm just going over the evidence. This here is exhibit. And I've also talked about the car accident, that I got a neck injury, and I'm named for life because of the neck injury. Okay? So this here is what I wrote to the police, is also exhibited with heaps of other evidence, me complaining consistently. Okay? That's just pure evil. People are complaining because they know something's not right. But this system, they're ignoring everything. And then, they tell you to go online because they don't care. So it is a conspiracy to commit murder case, but this is just part of it. Okay, guys, I was just looking at this. This has gone over a bit, but this here is my plaintiff's interlocutory application to enter a summary judgment. Okay, I'm not going to read it all. This here is pure evidence of a criminal case. So hang on a moment. This is the interlocutory. I've titled it. There's a few of them in all my other cases, and they've done exactly the same thing. And I don't care who thought of the system, but their motive and intent is to steal my compensation money. Okay, they did it with Unison Dance Crew. They're doing it again. That's not even including my life insurance. That's not even including other stuff that they've used me for. So this here is my plaintiff's interlocutory application on notice to enter a summary judgment because there's sufficient evidence to prove perjury historically. Okay. Okay, so notice it's the I've made it to the judge. It doesn't go to the court deputy registrar. Any high court, when the judge is talking about the court is the judge. Okay, yes, the court deputy registrar, they have some kind of authority, but they all got different roles. Okay, they all got different roles. It doesn't mean one is more experienced means they get to do all these roles. Okay. Okay. So I will just go over it. I have a reasonable belief they're trying to kill me for money. All right. So I don't care who goes to prison. Okay. So you guys can read it yourself. You can see how competent I am. There's hardly any mistakes in this one. Because I'm very competent. So bear in mind that I've had a lot going on. Okay. Half of the rejection is because they all know I've won. And hold on a moment. Okay. They've used me for money laundering globally. Okay. So you guys can just stop the video and do it yourself. But I've had to do this because this is so serious. They want me to do the intentional damage, the intentional rejection. What the judge should have done is get a criminal lawyer to take over my cases, but they don't want to because they know it's so serious. Okay, so you can see I'm very competent. It's the white supremacists supporting they're just using you guys. Okay, they're just using people to help themselves not get caught and made accountable for what they've done. Okay. But this conspiracy game where they're getting members of people's family involved, it's because of the money. It's all part of the conspiracy. For example, it's actually none of my family's business what I do privately in court. My court case belongs to me, but they've turned the game globally since 2010, since Unison Dance Crew hip hop group. That is what the white supremacists and the cultures are doing. Okay. And your family doesn't even know how serious what they're doing, and people are getting involved in stuff that they have no idea how serious it is because it can backfire. So you can all read it. And New Zealand law only applies, not anywhere else. Okay, but we're having people from overseas, they're actually inciting hits. Okay, I've listened on the radio, and the defendants are inciting hits. Those in government, the white supremacists or other cultures in prominent jobs, they know that somebody's going to kill me. So that's why it's a conspiracy to commit murder. They're waiting for someone to kill me. Okay. And then they're putting like extremists in my family, in my space, as if, they have some kind of authority over me, but it's a criminal tactic. So just because it's cultural, it could happen to any Europeans too. So I'm saying this could be happening to anyone. Okay. I won't read it because it's quite a long one, basically covering all my points. So it doesn't, even if people have stolen the compensation money, the government still has to pay it. That's not my problem. That's the government's. But this is linking to Natalie Visciso and all those other women being used in my space. And it's global, and it's a conspiracy. So as you can see, I'm not mentally retarded. I'm very intellectually intelligent, and I've won every single case. I did tell the judge that if a criminal, when the charges are laid, they will be charged for every single breach, and they can be fined for every single breach plus reparation. Okay? It is so serious. Okay. The other thing I have found is they've even conspired to make my court cases difficult, or they've even when they do their stenographers, okay, the stenographers, that's even more serious too, is they're not actually typing the actual words what's said in court, so they can easily make mistakes purposely just to delete evidence what was said in court. Okay, and when I did depositions, the witnesses, everything is said about or recorded or typed about what the victim said. It's word for word. If they swear, they've got to write swearing. If they said all that, it's word for word. And if you get, to get a transcribe, the judge has authority to actually listen to it. But I have to say that they are actually setting up new judges, even the method that they're using new judges all the time, because everyone is so scared to write the right thing. Okay, but it's money laundering, it's cheating, and this is pure legal evidence. And the Crown refused to sign it. They've all refused to sign all my interlocutory application. Why? Because they know everything is true, and they don't want the judge to actually do a sealed judgment, because that's what I was asking, was for the judge to do a sealed judgment, because I just want to end it and go forward, but I have not been able to go forward. Okay, so this system, they're getting people involved. In my court cases, as an example, I have a reasonable belief that they're splitting the tax, like it's tax invasion, going back to Unison Dance Crew. They're secretly stealing my ideas and then secretly splitting the money, okay, or anything that I'm entitled to, giving it to somebody else. Whether it's, that's serious stuff. It's a very serious allegation, but you'll find everything is true. Now, this is still a legal document, even though the courts refused to sign it. There it is, 31st. But the exhibits and the statement of claim and everything, they all refer to this. It's exactly the same fact. So I'll leave it at that. And this is part 6. Okay, so we're dealing with deception, delusion, illusion. You will find that everything in regards to my profile, going back to my case against the Ministry of Health, and then the guy that actually wrote the mental health assessment without even one-on-one on me. With me, a consultant personally, he made a mental health assessment on my mental health on just documents, okay? Just documents, not meeting me by person. So this here is consistent with all the evidence as far as even the unlawful strikes. There's totally of about 20 plus judges involving with my case. It's been going on for 9 years. Okay, so I personally, I don't know what they want to call it, but I have been fighting for my life. Like, they have not left me. They keep on abusing me. I can't go forward. I'm pinned down. And to them, I'm dead. Okay, obviously I'm not dead. So This is my case, okay, and I'm actually the original in everything. The next one I will do another, there's another one I will go over it just to prove a fact, but I'm doing this because I know that the government, the honest people in government are treating my case a very serious case, and it's working. What I'm doing is happening, it's working. I know that I'm supposed to be doing this, but to them I'm dead, okay? These people see me as I'm dead. They are pinning me down. I know that's quite clear their motive and intent again is to steal. I don't care if it goes to the state. I mean, since when do you put a individual's liberty at the hands of a government for all these people to decide whether I live or die? Why would they care? Why would they even care whether I live or die? They don't. All they can see is themselves being able to, have their foot in the door and steal off, it's just all power and superior. That's not why we have a government for. That's why I'm denouncing everything when I see it. And I'm going to keep on doing that. I'm actually the plaintiff who actually started the case, not the defendants, okay? I mean, the old system, the Crown would represent the plaintiff, because usually the plaintiff is the victim if it all came to the nitty-gritty of it. The plaintiff has made an allegation that the defendant have broken laws, okay? And, these people are paying lots and lots of money. These lawyers, they're charging the defendant lots and lots and lots of money, okay? And they want to win, but you're cheating. You are breaking the law. Okay, so with that being said, my case against the state, the government, in regards to my court cases, is 100% conspiracy to bring false accusation on an innocent person. Okay, I am innocent. If they want to take me to court, I mean, gossip, getting people to say something about somebody, that's not evidence. Hearsay evidence, that's not concrete evidence. Okay, that is not evidence to make a decision about somebody. Not only that, I know a lot of people hate me because they know that they have committed some pretty serious offences on me. So they've all just joined forces. But according to the law, I am innocent. And so the Crown is liable for conspiring to bring false accusations. I'm saying all the unlawful strikes are false accusation. All of them have committed perjury one way or another, and saying that the judges can still prove themselves as innocent by, see if the deputy or the courts registrar has withheld information from them or set them up. But I'll go back to that law here. Just hold on. Okay, I'll finish up with this law here because I'm sorry the video's gone over, but it is worth it. Conspiring to bring false accusation is actually 14 years imprisonment, okay? But it used to be the death penalty. Why? Because perjury is very serious, like internal corruption of those in corporate body committing breaches is very serious, but they removed it. So if this went back when this law is actually existed, everyone would actually be done for treason, and also is under the umbrella of a death penalty. Simple. Why? Because they've conspired. Okay, they've committed an offence on an innocent person. Okay, but they've changed it to 14 years imprisonment. But in saying that, it is a 20-year penalty for everything they've done to me. So what will happen is that it accumulates, meaning in the criminal, a 20-year penalty going backwards, they can add the years. You could end up being 30, 40, 60 years imprisonment. That is how the law works. I mean, that is serious. I told the judge about my neck injury. Okay, that's going back to the car accident. But this system, just because I'm a Christian, they expect me to be humble. They expect me to forgive. But hello, you've just stolen somebody's life and used somebody for a pecuniary advantage, right? All right, so spiritually speaking, we're talking about good faith or bad faith. So whether you believe in God or not, we're talking about those in public office, whether it's call center, whatever it is, whatever you're doing, we're talking about whether you're abiding to the laws, you're upholding the laws, and you'll be judged as an individual. And even if you're brand new, because this tactic, what the government is doing, or those perpetrators are doing, they're using new people in my space all the time, brand new people, or you go into court and they say they're on sick leave. There's a consistency of that, meaning that they're deliberately making things difficult for the very purpose to sabotage. The other thing is, if I die, they also can be charged for causing death that may have been prevented. Say if I don't make it and I get murdered or whatever, even if I just die, they can get charged for this, causing a death that may have prevented. I've begged it's quite disgusting to actually beg the courts to help you, and only they just ignore it and write fraudulent documents. Okay, the other one is acceleration of death. So how I was explaining about perpetrators doing proxy hacking, and they've got different people. I'm telling you, that is what they've done to me historically. So different states, the public, they're doing it to me as the original, taking turns, and then they switch. That's what they're doing with animation or animating our individual. What the government is doing is very wrong. Okay, they're inciting, and then they're getting people's family members, and they're making it like a cultural thing. Okay, so all the extremists, and then they all try and punish me because they think, natural thinking, and then everyone's got some kind of extremist person in their family tree, blah blah blah, but it's actually none of their business. Okay, it's actually none of my family's business historically when it comes to my court case, but the government is inciting. Okay, the cultures are inciting and control. I'm saying it's the perpetrators involved, is the white supremacists and the other extremist cultural using their people. But the innocent civilians are those original, or all my family, of course, they're the original, but they don't know the seriousness because they have nothing to do with the law. So so that's what I'm basically exposing. So I've already gone over this law, but this is what groom to your death. Like if they're grooming, so I've witnessed people being groomed to their death. They're lying to them. Okay, they're convincing them of a lie. That's how easy it is. And then they're gluing people, but little do you know that they've got their mind to steal whatever it is behind the scene. All they need to do is have you eliminated. And yes, they've tried to eliminate me for years and still is trying. So if I don't make it, all the evidence that they've said about me secretly, and even if they've deleted stuff, the body corporates will still get it. Those in the CEOs back then, going back to the government, they will all be prosecuted. And you know what? I know they're scared. I just know. But you guys do exactly what you're doing, and you're doing it. So I'm within my right to stand up against it, because I have not enjoyed anything you've done to me. So basically, the case to do with me is an abuse of the court system. It is a scandalous of the court system, and everyone has committed contempt of court, okay, or committed perjury. And this is my personal experience, even when I go in public. Okay? It's so scary, honest to God. I mean, I know I'm strong, I don't show my emotion, but in my, I have felt panic, because, this is just not on. I feel like I'm in some kind of a prison, but what for? What have I done that is wrong? I know I haven't done anything wrong. So at the end of the day, victims are entitled to their justice. And yeah, so hopefully you all take a bit out of what I'm saying to protect yourself, and learn to say no. Okay, just learn to say no. Choose your friends wisely. At the end of the day, I have found these people just use people, and then they don't care what happens to them after that. They don't care. Okay, but no one is worth your dignity or your liberty or risking your family's life. So yes, definitely, in my case is a miscarriage of justice. So if you don't know what a miscarriage of justice is, it can mean several things, but my case is definitely a contempt of court. It is definitely a miscarriage of justice internally. Okay, so it is actually illegal to do what they're doing, where they're using people like a product and then tagging them. Okay, it's a trafficking ring. Okay, so that's what they've done to me, and that explains what I've gone through. It could be happening to, your children, maybe even tagged. You may be tagged. Anyone can be tagged, but it is illegal to treat people like they're a product. It's illegal. Okay, so I'll finish with this, guys. So we're talking about personality of the body corporate, the personality of the government. Is it a good structure? Is it good faith or bad faith? Is it working? No, it's not working as far as I'm concerned. So spiritually speaking, we're talking about integrity and honesty. Okay, we're talking about integrity and honesty. To be totally honest, they've wanted to eliminate me because I don't have that's why they're using younger people, and they're expecting people to vote over me because of body, okay, because I don't fit their caliber. That's insulting. That is disgusting. So I guess basically what we're dealing with, are you honest behind closed doors? Okay, motive and intent. The same way God will judge us, motive and intent. Okay, is equivalent as to our actions. So are you honest behind the clean doors? Basically, spiritually speaking, we're talking about motive and intent here. And we know a lot of people don't care about the truth. A lot of cultures, we're talking about atheists who don't care about God or care about anything like that. But we're talking about integrity and honesty. So it's either one or the other. You can't be both. But yeah. Thanks, guys. I will have one more clip. So this is part 6. The next one will be part 7. But I'm basically proving that you're witnessing a conspiracy to commit murder case plus other stuff going on, other culpable charges. So I'll finish with this. I'm sorry it's taken too long, but it's worth it.